The big index names crept higher today, but the real action was under the surface, in tungsten miners, a telecom shakeup, and a brutal day for biotech. Welcome to Finance in Review. This is your U.S. market recap for Friday, July 10th, 2026. Nothing here is investment advice. Stay with us for why a British telecom giant jumped almost 13% and why an unglamorous household brand soared on its earnings. The S&P 500 rose 0.4%, closing at 75.75, its highest finish since June 4th. Nearly all of that point gain traced back to a handful of mega caps, led by Nvidia, which climbed about 4%. Still, breadth stayed positive under the surface, with advancing stocks outnumbering decliners by roughly 3-2. The Dow Jones Industrial Average added just under 0.3%, finishing near 52,637. It was a quieter day for the blue chips, with no single name dominating the tape. The Dow has now risen 2 sessions in a row, though it lagged the tech-heavy indexes across the week. The Nasdaq Composite gained just under 0.3% as well, closing near 26,282. That marked a third straight advance for the index. Strength in the largest technology names, Nvidia in particular, did much of the lifting, while the broader list of tech stocks was far more mixed. The Russell 2000 was the day's outlier, slipping about 0.5% to close near 2,978. While large caps edged to fresh near-term highs, small caps went the other way. That split has been the week's quiet story, with smaller companies lagging their bigger peers by a wide margin. The VIX, Wall Street's gauge of expected volatility, fell more than 5% to close at 15.03. It measures how much movement investors anticipate over the coming month. A reading near 15 sits toward the calm end of the range, and today's drop marked a second straight session of easing nerves. 10 of the 11 sectors finished higher, so the gains were broad. Materials led the way, up 1.25%, followed by consumer staples at 1.1% and communication services at 1%. The defensive tilt, with staples and utilities among the leaders, stood out on an up day. Healthcare was the lone sector in the red, down 0.8%. That weakness came straight from biotech, where several drug makers sold off hard. We will get to those names in a moment. Technology, despite Nvidia's jump, actually sat near the bottom of the pack, up just 0.2%, a reminder that the average tech stock did far less than the headline suggests. Financials were similarly muted, rising 0.3%. This is where our channel lives, the stories beyond the mega caps. On the winning side, Vodafone, the British telecom giant, jumped almost 13% after Emirates Telecom agreed to sell its entire 16% stake to an investment vehicle tied to French billionaire Xavier Niel at a premium to the prior close. WD-40, the household lubricant maker, surged more than 10% after reporting third-quarter sales up 24%, raising its full-year guidance and authorizing a $100 million buyback. Almonty Industries, a tungsten miner, gained about 13% after announcing it had begun processing ore at its Sangdong mine in South Korea, its transition from developer to producer. And Equipment Share, an equipment rental company, rose roughly 17%. On the losing side, the damage was concentrated in biotech. Ionis Pharmaceuticals fell more than 9% after it and partner AstraZeneca disclosed that a late-stage heart drug trial missed its main goal. Moderna dropped nearly 11%, though with no fresh company news, a pullback after a sharp run higher this year. Turning to the most actively traded names by volume, Nvidia topped the list, with about 147 million shares changing hands as it rose 4%. New Holdings, the Latin American digital bank, was close behind at roughly 115 million shares, up a fraction of a percent. SoFi Technologies traded about 91 million shares and edged up nearly 1%. American Airlines saw around 82 million shares and slipped about 0.6%. And UPath, an automation software firm, traded roughly 79 million shares, down about 1%. No major company news drove the volume in most of these names. Zooming out to the full week, The Nasdaq led the major indexes, up 1.75%, and the S&P 500 gained about 1.25%. But the Dow slipped 0.5%, and the Russell 2000 Small Cap Index lost roughly 0.6%. Among sectors, energy was the standout, up 3.5% on the week, while materials brought up the rear, down more than 2%. The defining theme was concentration. Megacap technology and energy carried the market, while smaller companies were largely left behind. Time for today's Market Minute. The S&P 500 is weighted by company size, so the biggest names carry the most influence. Right now, the 10 largest stocks make up roughly a third of the entire index. That means a strong day for a few mega caps can pull the whole index up, even when most stocks are doing very little. Today was a clean example. Nvidia and a few giants accounted for nearly all of the S&P's point gain, yet the typical stock rose only modestly. That is why we always check market breadth. How many stocks actually advanced or declined? Breadth tells you what the average company did, not just the giants. To recap, the S&P 500 and Nasdaq edged to fresh highs while small caps slipped, and biotech was the clear soft spot in an otherwise broad advance. For the week, mega cap technology and energy led, while the Dow and small caps lagged behind. Volatility eased, with the VIX closing near 15. That's the market close for today. Thanks for watching, and remember, this is information, not investment advice.